Hi everybody and welcome back to Shawn's Corner. So I've got a question for you. Who motivates the motivator? Well, according to one artist, the answer is we have to motivate ourselves. There are lots of things we can do, and I've thought about three areas where we can focus and some ideas for sort of livening up each of those three areas so that we feel a little bit more motivated, and therefore our motivation is contagious and washes off on our students. Taking a look at three areas that I've identified, which are the physical setting, obviously what's around us, the context, which is a little bit about our experience, and the people, who are our students and our colleagues. Let's look at some ideas so that we can think about how we would approach this for each of ourselves, because there's no one answer for everybody. But looking at our context, looking at how we feel in our school and how things are in our school, we can then try to take something like these ideas and make a plan for our own use. In regards to physical setting, yes, we've got the school. We've got the building around us. We've got whether or not it's hot or it's cold. We've got big classrooms, small classrooms, all of these different things. We aren't going to change that a lot, but we have our classroom. Okay, our classrooms. A lot of us have to move around to different classrooms. In there, yeah, we might not be able to even put up displays. But let's think about one other thing, which is common areas. And a lot of times, especially in schools nowadays, there are common areas, and most times schools will encourage displays. So let's try to think about, even though we make a display and it's not exactly in our classroom, it's still a demonstration of our students' work. And there's that pride involved in that. And there's recognition, and there's other people seeing it. And there's also probably students seeing that before class. So they also feel good about work they've shown and they've done. But I've got another idea, and this goes back to my high school English teacher, Miss J. Well, Miss J loved frogs. And one thing that Miss J had in her classroom were tons of frogs. Well, she had a classroom, so she could have tons of frogs. But if you like frogs, if you like something, why not have a class sort of mascot, a little class pet? And bring it in every day, and there you are actually putting some of your personality into your classroom. And students should be curious, why? Why a frog? Why do you like frogs? Or maybe even you change it up. And why did you decide a frog this week, and last week you had a dog, and next week you might bring in a rabbit? So bringing in little things that show your personality already changes your setting and makes it your own. Moving on to people. Well, it's very obvious we've got our students. We've got a group of young people, or maybe not young, depending on your teaching situation. And hopefully we like those people. Or we're trying to warm them over. We're trying to have them like us or whatever. But that's just a given in teaching. Now, how we establish rapport, that's a very personal thing. And it's important to establish rapport. Because if we don't have rapport, then our motivation falls by the wayside. So little by little, we can work for that. Now there's our colleagues. And this one's a little bit easier, I think. Easier in the fact that, well, one area of motivation, at least for me, is when I have a little something new. And when I can share. I really like sharing. I think that's just part of my teaching. And that's part of my mission. But why don't you ask your colleague for a new activity? What did you do in Chapter 5? Chapter 5 seems like such a difficult chapter. What did you do? And maybe your colleague has something completely new. So they will feel good about giving you something, let's hope. And then there's the other side where you might say, You know, chapter 7 was, it looked terrible to me, but I found something I really liked. This is what I did. And it might be a worksheet, it might be a movie that you showed, or whatever. Now there I might also say, hey, why don't you look at last season's Shawn's Corner episodes, and maybe you'll find a video that you like or some sort of activity and share that with a colleague. That's fine. Just sharing something is important. Now the last area I've identified for improving your motivation is your context. And by context, I mean, do you love teaching? Is there a joy of teaching? And this is something that's, can be in flux. It can be sometimes better and sometimes worse. But consider this, that one way of boosting it up always is professional development. Just learning a little bit more about your craft and having more resources and having more tricks available. So this year I would encourage, of course, some teacher training, coming to some events, but try out something new and different at least. And here again, I want to say, go back to Shawn's Corner last year and try out something new. Or just keep watching this year, and I would like to show you some new things. So these 3 areas, I think, are a great start for you to motivate yourself as a motivator. So try them out, and I'd like to hear from you. And looking forward to seeing you in the teacher's room. Bye.